Hi, Hamm. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Thank you so much for allowing me entrance onto your estate.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure to have you.
You look stunning.
Thank you.
Do you think people get off on telling a drag queen they look stunning, like as a way of proving how evolved and progressive they are? Because I certainly do. Just now I got such a rush of being so liberal that I could tell you that you look stunning.
I think letting people praise you is one of the gifts that drag gives to the community. I think people need to feel those things that you were talking about, like liberal and progressive, and in favor of alternative sexualities and all that kind of stuff. And a drag queen is just a nice little opportunity to feel that way.
To me, like, people being like, "Oh, you look so gorgeous," like in a super effortless way,
yeah,
is almost the equivalent of being like, I actually don't see drag. But you actually, I love what you're saying. It's very generous. You don't get annoyed by that.
I do. I get annoyed because I see it. There have been a lot of times when I've seen it directed at somebody who I knew did not look gorgeous, and so it means that if somebody says it to you, you can't really take their word for it. Drag was the one thing I finally hit on where I finally found a way to interface with the gay community, where I finally found a role where I could be like, hey, and other people would be like, hey.
Right.
Because
it's completely non-sexual.
It's non-sexual, it's very exaggerated, there's nothing subtle about it, so people don't have to freak out trying to figure you out.
Yeah.
They know exactly what you are, you're a drag queen, and if I start talking, they know exactly what I am. It's like I'm an angry, verbal drag queen.
Right. So you have loving parents?
Very loving parents. I have
great.
Good parents.
That's great.
I had a good childhood. I don't know where all this rage comes from.
Yeah, where does it come from?
Sexual rejection. Almost entirely.
I'm a comedian, I just want to be a jester, but I also feel like I have something to say. But I also never want to sound like a Mark Maron interview.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile those two things?
I'm not sure I'm very good at it. I mean,
I'm not either.
In recording, there's a thing called a limiter, which is a form of it's like a compressor, which just means it kind of, I don't really understand it, but I know there's a thing called a brick wall limiter, which just means that you can compress the signal a lot, like turn it up.
Yeah.
And the brick wall limiter keeps it from ever distorting. It caps it off. So you can basically crank it, but it won't blow out your speaker.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel drag works with a lot of these stupid digressions, these intellectual things, these stupid things, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like ultimately, like, no matter what you say on camera right now will always be...
It's still coming out of this.
Yeah.
And that's my saving grace, and it's the thing that I need it. Yeah, because I need it. I'd be a monster.
What's your sex life like as a drag queen?
The eyebrows make a big difference.
Yes.
Because if you can take off your drag and you look kind of like a normal human, people find it super attractive. They just can't believe it.
Right.
If you take off your drag and you look like a kind of a weird cancer patient,
like a member of what, Rammstein or what's that?
Yeah, Rammstein.
Yeah, Rammstein.
Then they're not as compelled to have sex with you.
Hamm, thank you so much for joining me. Or rather for letting me join you. This is a really gorgeous place you have. It's so good. I just
inherited.
I know you mostly from obviously the kind of seedy Brooklyn scene, so it's nice to know that you can come back to this.
Yeah, as a highbrow.
And just think, just think.